The first video in this multi-part presentation provided a graphical introduction to the ImpactECON Global Supply Chain Database and model. In this video, we will provide a case study illustrating how the ImpactECON Global Supply Chain Database can improve your analysis. Our case study starts with the elimination of a tariff on German imports of autos from Japan. We will analyze the impacts on German production, consumption, and trade. With the standard GTAP framework, a reduction in German tariffs on autos from Japan results in increased imports by consumers, the main group which we would expect to be impacted by this tariff change. Because the GTAP framework aggregates these autos into motor vehicles without distinction, we also decrease the tariff on business intermediates and investment good purchases. With the ImpactECON Global Supply Chain Model and Database, we can directly lower tariffs on German imports of autos from Japan, which are primarily purchased by consumers, which include households and government. In an accompanying video, we further explore the increase in production of autos in Japan and the global sourcing of auto parts. In this video, we limit our analysis to the impacts on Germany. Eliminating a tariff on autos is not a straightforward exercise in the GTAP framework, since the main GTAP database does not identify autos. Instead, a user calls on third-party data in the form of domestic trade data, the World Integrated Tariff System, or the McMap database to separate and define the auto component in the GTAP motor vehicles category. The user then creates a weighted average of the GTAP tariff, here 7.1%. Then the user eliminates the tariff on autos and recalculates the weighted average tariff, which now calculates to 3.6%. The difference between these two values, 7.1% and 3.6%, is then entered into the GTAP model. In the case of the ImpactECON Global Supply Chain Database, auto imports are already defined as consumer purchases from Japan. In this case, we see directly the tariff on auto imports from Japan into Germany, and its average 7.7%. We enter this value directly into the ImpactECON Global Supply Chain model. At this point, one might think the shock to the two models is the same. However, the similarities stop here. Looking at the supply price of German imports of motor vehicles in the GTAP model, the supply price for all motor vehicle imports falls for all consumers of motor vehicles, including business intermediates and capital goods, by the same amount. In the case of the ImpactECON Global Supply Chain model, the price of automotive imports to consumers falls, while the import price to business intermediates and capital goods is unchanged. Returning to the standard GTAP framework, we see that business intermediates and investment goods make up the majority of purchases of imported motor vehicles from Japan. Since the GTAP model does not distinguish imports by the type of goods, the majority of this tariff shock is channeled toward businesses and investment, despite the fact that we lowered the tariff on autos. This has significant consequences for the results, since it is largely a shock to business intermediates, not consumers as intended. In the standard GTAP model, the shock results in an increase in production of motor vehicles in Germany, despite the intention to lower the import price on the final good, autos. Domestic sales decrease slightly, while imports increase, but exports increase as well. In the case of the ImpactECON Global Supply Chain Model and Database, lowering the price on auto imports from Japan into Germany reduces the output of the German motor vehicle sector, as sales to domestic consumers falls in Germany more than in the standard GTAP model and database. Imports rise, but exports are not impacted by the reduction in the tariff on auto imports from Japan into Germany. Why do the results differ so significantly, not only in order of magnitude, but move from growth to contraction in automotive production in Germany? Looking at the supply price or cost of producing in Germany, the standard GTAP framework incorrectly allocates the majority of the tariff removal on auto imports to business intermediates in Germany, reducing the cost of production in Germany, and acts as a competitive boost. This is not a desirable feature of the GTAP model and database. In the case of the ImpactECON Global Supply Chain Database, the tariff shock is limited largely to consumers. Without the large, unintended reduction in production costs in Germany within the standard GTAP model and database, we cannot explain the increase in German motor vehicle production as a result of lowering the tariff on auto imports. Why use the ImpactECON Global Supply Chain Database and model? It will improve the representation of supply chain dynamics, which more accurately represent real-world supply relationships. Your results will be consistent with the supply chain structure in contrast to the GTAP aggregation. Thank you for taking the time to view this video. For further information or to purchase the ImpactECON Global Supply Chain Database, please visit our website.